Hello and welcome back to another edition of HG Thunder Talk. I'm Brian Rucker along with Aaron Wagner, and we're going to be talking about Milwaukee Bucks, the perennial disappointment of the city of Milwaukee. So we will start the discussion with that. Aaron, Bucks are 2-3. They started 2-1 this year. Dropped the last two as usual. Defense seems to be the main, or sorry, offense seems to be the main issue. Defense looks pretty darn good. What's going on in Milwaukee, Aaron? What's going on?
It's hard to. I mean, it is early yet, but you know, maybe let's be honest. Though, if we pay them as what a seventh or eighth seed at best,
Yeah.
so maybe that's how they are playing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you got Jennings, who's in his third year now, and you'd like to see some more signs of him really becoming a star. I don't at this point. I don't know if he's anything other than a good, very good player. He's like Bogut. I'd
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Very good. You can win
Yeah.
championships with him as a
Right.
second or third best guy on the roster, but
Exactly.
yeah.
But if you really want to contend and compete, you need that one absolute stud player.
You do.
You know, even as bad as Orlando's surrounding cast is,
Dwight
Dwight Howard makes that team. You look at Chris Paul and the Hornets last year.
Mhm.
I don't know. Without Chris Paul, they would have been probably one of the worst teams in the league. So you need a stud player, and it's tough because the only way to get those are to be quite honest, a top 5 pick. You don't see many.
Usually to suck really bad one year.
Yeah, you don't see
go up
many.
the next, yeah.
You don't see many. Teams that are picking in the teens.
Mhm.
You know.
Well,
stud
and
that
even
falls
in
to
even
it.
the last few years, some of the top talent hasn't really proven to be as good as you would have thought. I mean, you look at Washington right now.
John Wall.
John Wall, he's a good player, but I don't know if he's going to be ever in that category of Dwayne Wade or
I
LeBron
think
James.
he's only
He's probably 20 years old.
20 or 21. I think he'll be all right. But yeah, it's hard to say, but that is your best bet though,
Mhm.
to grab that
Mhm.
absolute stud in the draft. And the Bucks, I think they're just treading water.
I agree with you.
They're not doing anything that's good enough to push them where they would compete and maybe draw some interest from a decent free agent that could put them over the top.
Mhm.
Or they're not as bad. Where
Right.
They can fall.
Well, and that's what the NBA in general, because it's not the NFL where you can get good picks in all the rounds and up and down the board. But that's one thing you get stuck in a rut where you're not good enough to be good, but you're not bad enough to eventually be good either.
Exactly.
And because really it has to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Mhm.
In the NBA, unfortunately, you either need to get extremely lucky, which the Bucks aren't getting, or well, you still need to get lucky this way too. But I mean, suck enough that you get a top, like you said, a top 5 pick, or even top 3, even is what really you're looking at. Because I mean, that's usually the promised line for draft picks. But they don't. They're too good to get in the top 5, and they're not good enough to contend.
Exactly.
And that's going to be their issue. And I don't see this changing for a few years.
Um,
They, I don't know. I look at this team. To make an analogy, I see a team of Robins. There's no Batman on this
I don't
roster.
even see Robbins. To be
You don't
quite
see-
honest, to be quite honest with
Alfred
you,
Butlers.
no. I mean
Yeah.
Bogut. Yeah, he's a good player, but you said this before too. He misses a decent amount of games.
Yeah.
Jennings still inconsistent.
I'd like
shooting.
to see him be a better point guard. I think he can. He's a decent scorer at times, but you need a floor general.
To be quite honest with you, Jennings' skill set, I think he's way better in transition, just running up. And they need a run and gun team.
Right. They don't have it.
Bogut, no
Doesn't
way.
fit that. They don't have. Yeah. I mean, they're
No.
very
Like
much.
Dunleavy, you kidding me?
Yeah.
Some of these guys, no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. They got a lot of issues going on, and that's why they won't get there. And we've brought this topic up before. Scott Skiles, you've made it a point in that he's good at making you an average team,
right.
but he can't get you to the next level. And I agree with you. And I think part of the reason why is because he's so good at defense that he doesn't coach well offensively. And
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how much of it's his fault and how much is just the lack of talent they have shooting the ball, but. When it comes down to it, there's two facets of the game. There's offense and defense, and the Bucks are a great defensive team. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
Offensively, meh,
right.
there's nothing. No, they're terrible. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. Skiles to take over a team that's underachieving isn't that good. He'll install some defense, and that'll win him
Couple games.
7, 8 more games.
Yep. And then all of a sudden everybody's hyped up about how
Yeah,
they're looking at it. And,
yeah. I think a Skiles coach team has a certain ceiling. They don't.
Mhm.
I don't know him personally, and I'm not like a pro reporter or inside the locker room, see what it is, but
Yeah.
it just in crunch time, who are you gonna go to? Right, with this team?
There's nobody. I don't. There's no guy on that roster that I think could do it.
No.
I think Jackson's your best bet right now. But even Jackson, you're talking about Robbins. I think he's one of the few guys that could classify as a Robin on that team. I mean, he could be a number. I think he could be a number 2. He's not a number 1. The point we're trying to make is that he's not a number 1.
Yeah.
Which it's a subpar team. I'm just hoping that they suck really bad. I'm hoping they win 10 games all year. Just because tough love, I hope they lose so they can win in the future.
The one thing that does help them, though, this upcoming draft class, if everyone declares that, or everyone that should declares, it's a really deep draft where even if the Bucks get their crappy 12 through 16 pick, there'll still be some very, very, very good players.
But the last deep draft that they had was the one where you had guys like Wade and James and Bosch and Milwaukee walked away with TJ Ford.
Right. they were just a spot or two out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it seems like the Packers have a golden hand. Whatever they do turns out to work pretty well. And it seems like the teams in Milwaukee, whether it be the Bucks or the Brewers, have the exact opposite hand. It is a different sport, but it's just
it's different. It's operated different.
It doesn't. Things just don't go well in Milwaukee. And you see. I think in Wisconsin we have 3 unique franchises. We have a really good one in the Packers, the gold standard of the NFL. We have the Bucks, who right now suck, but overall throughout their history have been average. And then we have the Brewers that, even though they're doing well right now, historically are very bad.
Right.
So we kind of see all levels of the progression as far as it goes. So I don't know, but back to the Bucks, just I don't know. I don't know there is anything to do. Do you think there could be any trades they can make? Try to bring anybody in? Do you think anybody's safe on this team? If they have the option to...
No one's safe.
No one's safe?
No.
Not even Bogut or Jennings?
No. I mean, I know it's early. Maybe I'm a little early to judge, but coming into the season, I thought, Bogut, Jennings are not your untouchables. Are your untouchables. But no, I mean...
I still think they have a certain amount of immunity.
Right, but wouldn't you... I don't know. Would you do a... I don't even know if Oklahoma City would do it. Would you do a Bogut and Jennings for Perkins and James Harden?
I wouldn't myself, just that individual trade, but if the right trade came up, I'd think about it.
I mean, because let's be honest, who would you rather have, James Harden or Brandon Jennings?
Harden, but that being said, I'd rather have Bogut over Perkins myself.
True.
I know you're a big Boston guy, so you might disagree.
No, it's not. It's just that he's more of a defensive minded.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just that.
I could try to. You can try to get Perkins without giving up Bogut and put those as your.
Nah, it's
your
not
fourth.
But no,
I don't.
I think the thing that that could become quite dangerous in the next couple of years is whether the Bucks stay in town. To be quite honest,
they don't draw the same as the others, and it's a 2-way street though. Partially it's because they don't win. When they started to win 2 years ago, the attendance went up. I know that it sounds like a really simple point. The more you win, the more you can. Unless you're the Packers, who could go 0-16 and still sell out every game. A lot of teams have to depend on winning to bring people in the door. And Milwaukee's the smallest city in, I think, both MLB and NBA. So that in itself hurts their attendance. And then when you're the Bucks and you're the second string in Milwaukee right now, it hurts. I don't know. I think they need to win soon if they're gonna guarantee they're gonna stay. But yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a decent chance that they aren't back in Milwaukee in the next 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, I think at the end of the season,
which is sad because I like the Bucks as much as I complain about them. I like watching them.
Right. I think at the end of the season, even if the Bucks squeak in, I don't see them making the playoffs. Even if it's 7 or 8. I think Skiles is gone. I think John Hammond's gone. They I hate to say it, they need to start fresh. I would like to keep Bogut, just because of the fact that if you're going to rebuild around him. Just because I feel like he's a good defensive center. You need offensive guys to go with him. But I think Bogut and Bamute are 2 guys that are definitely keys. You're going to build around Bogut, but thing that concerns me is he's a free agent in. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's around. He's got 3 years left on his
I
deal.
believe so.
So let's say after this year he's got 2 years.
Mhm.
I mean, are you really? Does Bogut really want to be a Buck
That's his
for
call.
life?
That's his call. I actually think he might.
You think so? When did he?
He signed a few years ago when I think it was a lot bleaker.
Yeah, they still had Red though.
Yeah.
You know,
They
that's
had
the main thing.
anybody else.
With Red, they at least had a
Somebody
stud for a year.
And you see, if I feel like if we had Red back, like prime Red, not now Red, but prime Red back with this team, I feel like they'd actually be decent. Because I feel like he'd be the kind of guy they need. Because they have defensive guys left and right. I mean, they're honestly a team where you could play 4 guys on defense, so to speak, and then have Red out there who's kind of a liability on defense, but let Reds score, be your scorer,
Yeah.
and then I think they could be very successful doing that. They're just, I don't know. I feel like Skiles, to use football terms, is a really good defensive coordinator, but he can't dial up the offense to save his life, and he's not that good on defense that he doesn't need the offense. So
Yeah, I'd say honestly,
it's
I'd
tough.
say the Bucks' best hope in the next 10, 20 years is
It's just suck
that
one year.
someone else buys a team. If it's Mark Anastasio, great, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
They need a new arena. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And they just need. They might need to start fresh. Maybe keep Jennings.
Mhm.
But they're not untouchable.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
It is.
It's not a good future.
Nah, it's pretty bleak. But the only good thing is if we would have been here talking about the Brewers in 01, 02, 03, with the teams they had, where it was pretty much Ben Sheets and a bunch of misfits. We would have probably said too, it's looking bleak. It's looking bleak. Sports have a way of eventually coming around.
Yeah.
And I think if the Bucks stay in Milwaukee, well, the organization wherever it goes eventually will be decent again. Whether it's like I said, like we said in Milwaukee or somewhere else, they'll be okay sometime. But it could be another 5-10 years. I know one guy I think could earn it, and Aaron disagrees with me on this, and that's totally okay. Is rookie Tobias Harris. I think he could be good. I think he's a big project player. I think he's 19 years old. He's younger than me. I think he's about Aaron's age. He's about a year younger than I am, about Aaron's age. He's a guy that maybe he does have star potential. I don't know. I like what I see. Aaron disagrees a little bit, but I mean that's what they're gonna need. They're gonna need somebody to walk in and be a force and be the man. Be 20 plus points a game. Just a good solid player. But those guys are a lot harder to find. It's kind of like trying to get a franchise quarterback in the NFL.
True.
And unlike the Packers, the Bucks don't have those guys fall into their laps.
No.
So I don't know. So I guess Aaron, unless you have any other comments, this dismal discussion on the Milwaukee Bucks seems to be over.
Yeah, that's basically a wrap. I don't know what to say other than maybe hope that we miss the playoffs.
Pray for your Bucks, everybody. Pray for the Bucks.
Hope that we get the 1 pick and
hope that we don't get a flop when we get it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh God.
signing off with hopefully a more happy discussion next time. Brandon Rooker and Aaron.